He became an orphan after a tragedy, then was sent to an orphanage at age 7 when no relatives accepted him. The orphanage director wasn't cruel, but also wasn't kind. He wanted to leave, so after graduating elementary school, he lied about his age and got a job. When his lie was discovered once, he got fired without pay. He kept working nights and slept during middle school, often in the infirmary or subway station instead of the orphanage bed. His poor health habits may have stunted his growth, but by age 18 he became independent. After 4 years of labor, he saved $8,750 and rented a tiny room that felt safe and comfortable. There, he allowed himself to dream of a better life. Then the system activated after his innate trait reached 100%. His species changed from human to monster. His name, age, height, weight, and stats were displayed. He had strength, endurance, agility, and limited magic and energy abilities. His new rare trait marked him as a monster with transformation powers. He could take on forms like orc, goblin, or wolf, and was currently a brown wolf, gaining boosts in strength, defense, and agility. He could revert to human form for 60 minutes a day, but his monster stats dropped during that time. That was when the trait ambushed him without warning, like when you expect soda and drink sparkling water instead. For the first week after unlocking his trait, Kim Se-jin lived isolated like a mental patient because he had to exist as a monster for 23 out of 24 hours a day. His bosses at part-time jobs sent messages and calls, but he ignored them. His small, meticulously kept room became a messy cesspool as his claws left scars everywhere. After 11 days, he accepted his new form, a brown wolf about 2 meters long, 1.2 meters tall at the shoulder, with a 50 centimeters tail, and weighing over 90 kilograms. This monster was considered the weakest prey, often targeted by knights, mercenaries, or hunters, and existed between being a beast and a full monster. Wolves were hunted relentlessly because they were numerous and troublesome. Se-jin decided to maximize his 1 hour in human form daily, buying easy TV dinners and practicing control over his wolf form to mimic it perfectly, learning to retract his claws after 4 days. He used his goblin form, small but dexterous, to clean his room and restore its neatness. With money worries, he searched on his bracelet computer for ways to earn from home, but doubted his chances due to his limited education. Then he found information about the legendary lycanthrope, a powerful extinct wolf-type monster able to change seamlessly between a bipedal wolf and a perfect tailless human form. He understood his trait allowed him to evolve by fulfilling certain conditions, so he resolved to do so. In Gangwon Province's monster territory, home to low to high tier monsters, 2 hunters, Kim Tae-jo and a badly injured comrade, fled from a monsterized great tiger. Tae-jo was exhausted, and his comrade was missing a leg. Near the military border, a starving brown wolf appeared. Normally an easy kill, Tae-jo was too weak to fight or escape. When he swung his empty shotgun at the wolf, he killed a smaller wolf attacking him, only to see a massive tiger-sized brown wolf, larger than any he had seen, holding the smaller wolf in its jaws and staring at him with confident eyes. Tae-jo accepted his fate, but the huge brown wolf did not attack. Instead, it gently lifted the injured comrade and gestured for Tae-jo to follow, carrying the man toward the military base to the west. Kim Se-jin glanced at the cautious hunter trailing behind him as he carried the unconscious one toward the mountain's exit. After setting the injured man down, he noticed the sign warning of more monster encounters ahead. He growled to prank the nervous hunter, who screamed and fell in panic. Se-jin patted him with a paw and returned to the forest. Kim Tae-jo sat stunned, slapped his face to confirm reality, then rushed to his coughing comrade, Sang Yoon. He shouted for help and saw soldiers approaching from the guard post. Later, while drinking tea, Tae-jo called the creature that saved him a spirit beast. A soldier doubted it, noting spirit beasts were rare, divine-like beings. Tae-jo insisted, then remembered he had worn a recording lens during the encounter. He quickly removed it from his eye to show the footage. In a cavern nearby, Se-jin, in goblin form, sneezed while dismantling a monster. He wiped his nose, packed up materials, and sat down. Frustrated by the goblin form's fidgety habits, he switched to the brown wolf form and opened his status window. His trait had leveled up to 3, increasing his stats but not evolving his forms A. Month earlier, he had left home to become a lycanthrope and entered Gangwon's monster territory. He avoided patrols and found a cave to use as a base. He modified it using the goblin form and hunted constantly. At first, every monster was a threat, even weak brown wolves. He targeted solitary and weak ones, using the orc form's strength to kill them. After 10 kills, he gained his first level up. Though his stats improved, only the orc and wolf forms grew physically. He hoped to evolve, but saw no changes after a month and nearly 100 kills. Despite becoming the dominant predator, leveling became harder. Moving to higher-tier hunting grounds was too risky due to vast power gaps. Brown wolves needed 12 to defeat one gray wolf. As he sat thinking, a message appeared. 100 people had acknowledged the brown wolf's existence. All his stats increased, and the gray wolf form became available. He also gained an active skill usable in human form. His physical stats improved significantly, and his fur turned a shiny gray. Monster remains were sorted by usefulness. Bones and hides became weapons, and hearts with mana turned into mana stones for enchantments. The South Korean government handled disposal to avoid fraud and maintain control. This policy led to a high number of hunters, knights, and mercenaries in the country. Sejin received an $880 and a low-tier hunter license at the government-run monster store after bringing in 2 brown wolves. The clerk praised his skill and achievements despite only being a hunter for a month. He stayed expressionless, took the license, and left quickly to avoid attention. He sold monster materials in small amounts every few days to stay unnoticed because his trade allowed him to transform into a monster. A secret no one would believe. He heard a TV report in the store. The broadcast showed a video where a brown wolf rescued 2 hunters. One hunter, Taejo, out of mana and strength, prepared for death as a starving wolf approached. Suddenly, a much larger brown wolf appeared, killed the threat, and gently carried the wounded hunter to safety near a border post before walking away. Online, the footage went viral with netizens praising the wolf's appearance and actions. Experts suggested the wolf might be a growth-type monster or spirit beast. Growth types were believed extinct but were known to evolve from brown to gray to ebony. Hunters in the store joked about the wolf species. Embarrassed by their comments, Sejin left the store. Outside, the streets were crowded and people seemed unconcerned about the nearby monster field. He saw Eden Tower, known as the Holy Land for Knights. A billboard showed Knight Kim In-soo, injured but speaking about his duty. In-soo had the trait Savior of the Light and was popular in the media. Watching him, Sejin felt bitter. He sighed and walked toward the foggy monster field, the only place he felt at ease. Sejin returned to his cave and planned his next move after evolving into a gray wolf. He knew he could now hunt farther but still face dangers in the low-tier hunting ground, filled with stronger monsters like orc warriors, skeleton soldiers, and trolls. Since his orc form had not evolved, he decided to hunt in his wolf form. Despite the risk, he left his cave and saw a pack of gray wolves kill an orc warrior, but lost motivation watching their brutal fight. He moved toward the outer areas where weaker monsters like goblins lived. Near a bonfire, he spotted a goblin village and identified 2 goblins, one an elite goblin specializing in medicine. He hid in the grass and waited as the elite goblin approached. When the goblin sensed danger and stopped, Sejin attacked anyway. The goblin tried to shoot him with a blowgun, but Sejin bit its neck before it could counterattack. Upon killing it, he gained the skill Whirlwind Dash, which instantly raised his dashing speed and could be used twice a day. He also acquired the elite goblin's medicinal knowledge, allowing him to use the goblin's crafting skills while in goblin or human form. Alerted goblins came running, firing poison darts, but Sejin fled at a gray wolf speed, unharmed. As he returned home carrying the goblin's body, he heard weak moaning and found an injured woman nearby. She was Kim Yu-rin, an elf knight with grievous injuries. Sejin shifted to his giant orc form, lifted her carefully, and hurried back to his base. He laid her on a stone bed, changed to goblin form, and diagnosed her injuries. Using ingredients from the goblin and mana stones he had, Sejin brewed a mid-grade healing potion. Applying it, the woman's severe wounds slowly regenerated, and her color returned. Because he helped a human in need. Sejin's goblin form evolved into medical goblin, granting him the passive skill Goblin's craftsmanship, improving all his crafting-related abilities, including healing. A modest tattoo appeared on his forehead as a mark of this change. The rain started lightly and quickly grew heavier, flooding streams and basins around the mountain cave. Sejin, a low-rank goblin, worried about what to say to the injured knight, Kim Yu-rin, resting behind him. Yu-rin moaned softly, signaling she was waking, so Sejin hurried to her side. She opened her eyes, saw the stone ceiling, then suddenly sat up, causing sharp pain in her abdomen from a recent saber-toothed tiger attack. Although the wound felt real, her abdomen seemed healed to her touch. Se-jin spoke to her in Korean, surprising Yurin since goblins normally couldn't speak human language. Doubting her senses, she rubbed her eyes, but the goblin kept talking. Se-jin explained he was smarter than other goblins, had learned human language from a hunter who later died and saved her. Yurin accepted the story and thanked him, gently rubbing his head, which startled Se-jin. She drank a healing potion Se-jin made, and her pain disappeared immediately. Her bracelet vibrated with a message from the Knight's Order, reminding her mission had failed and she had been betrayed by teammates who left her to face the saber-toothed tiger alone. The teleport scroll and equipment malfunctions pointed to sabotage linked to a power struggle inside the Order. Yurin decided to return but was trapped in the cave by heavy rain and a landslide. For 3 hours, Yurin talked about her frustrations and personal life while Se-jin listened. As the rain stopped and sunlight returned, Yurin gave Se-jin a saber-toothed tiger fang. Se-jin recognized it as a valuable mana stone for making potions worth thousands of dollars. They exchanged goodbyes, with Yurin promising to come back, and Se-jin watched her leave. Se-jin created 4 potions from a fang given by Kim Yurin, 1 to strengthen constitution, and 3 for healing and regeneration. He kept the strengthening potion for himself and decided to sell the others, with his energy manipulation stat at 8, allowing him to maintain human form for 80 minutes daily. Se-jin planned to buy a house near Gangwon province, known as the paradise for the monster-related industry. Though land prices were very high, he visited an alchemy house, a rare place where potions were verified, graded, and authorized for sale. At the alchemy house, Se-jin nervously applied to sell his healing and regenerative potions, filling out an application form with their effects. The employee was shocked because regenerative effects were rare and usually resulted in higher grades. Se-jin assured him there were no side effects. Se-jin presented a glowing blue potion as the finished product, leaving the employee speechless since it was impossible for a novice to create such a potion. The employee tried to keep Se-jin from leaving, explaining the competitive nature of alchemy houses and the potion's value, but Se-jin insisted on leaving after leaving 3 drops for testing. The employee pleaded for Se-jin to return after the verification. In the city, Se-jin overheard a hologram interview with Knight Kim Yurin, who was preparing for her highest-tier Knight Ascension ceremony. When asked about her ideal man, Yurin smiled and said she preferred a man like a goblin, intelligent, kind, and skilled. Se-jin smiled and entered the store. The alchemy house manager, Dark Elf alchemist Hazeline, examined the potion sample. She was astonished by its quality, recognizing it as at least mid-grade, likely high-grade, and scolded the employee for letting the creator leave without proper verification. The employee apologized, but Hazeline saw potential business since the creator left a sample. She read aloud the potion's name from the application form: A Goblin's Kindness. Se-jin handed over monster materials at the monster store, when a government official suddenly asked to see his hunter license. She issued him a new one with the title Heavenly Gifted, explaining it was granted for killing 23 monsters in his first month. She said the title was rare and favored by Knight's orders, but Se-jin showed little interest due to his limited time in human form. As he turned to leave, she stopped him and gave him a recruitment flyer from the Pabag Knight's order. She said his title would help him bypass the usual requirements. When she shyly asked him to mention her name if he applied, Se-jin sensed trouble and quickly walked out. In the field, his improved goblin form and the body-strengthening potion made hunting easier. His orc form, now matching an orc warrior's strength, allowed him to crush a skeleton soldier with a single blow from his steel mace. After the kill, a message appeared. Trait level increased to 4 and all stats rose by 1. He sensed people nearby, so he changed to human form. A group of 4 hunters arrived and assumed he was a knight based on the destroyed skeleton and the weapon in his hand. Their leader, Kim Ji-han, introduced himself as an upper mid-tier hunter from the Taerong Knight's Order and handed over a business card. When asked about his order, Se-jin said he was a low-tier hunter. Ji-han thought it was a joke until Se-jin showed his hunter license with the Heavenly Gifted title and hunting records. Ji-han noticed the license listed no affiliation and realized Se-jin hunted alone. Excited, Ji-han offered him another business card from the Taerong Knight's Order. Se-jin replied that he wasn't interested and preferred working solo. Kim Ji-han gave Se-jin a business card from the Taerong Knight's Order, then tried to convince him to join by pointing out the dangers of being a solo hunter and the profits of participating in fisher explorations. He asked if Se-jin had defeated a skeleton soldier with the mace, and Se-jin confirmed, attributing it to a strong family constitution. Jihan accepted the answer and reminded Se-jin that those with high mana affinity could become powerful without formal training. Se-jin ended the conversation early, saying he was short on time, and Jihan told him to call if he changed his mind. Se-jin, in his wolf form, hunted efficiently using his improved trait and the active skill Whirlwind Dash, which let him kill most low-tier monsters with one surprise attack. His enhanced sense of smell helped him track prey with precision. While tracking, he detected 3 humans nearby and began to leave the area, but then heard a close voice and quickly changed into human form. A girl and a man approached. Yu Sejong, a low-tier knight, and Yoon Do-han, a low-tier hunter in a formal suit. Sejong greeted Se-jin politely, inspected him, and complimented his stealth. When he introduced himself, honestly, as a low-tier hunter, her interest disappeared, and she dismissed him coldly. As Se-jin walked away, a system alert informed him that a troll in a ravenous state was 500 meters east. He ran back to warn Sejong, who brushed him off with ridicule. The troll appeared, massive and terrifying, and Sejong turned to see it just in time to curse. She called out to Yoon Do-han, who immediately sprinted away at extreme speed using a trait. Sejong prepared to fight alone, drawing her sword and activating the Mana Blade skill. Se-jin noticed her hands were shaking and realized she was already affected by fear. Without his weapon, Se-jin considered fleeing. A system message appeared. He had unlocked the Orc Warrior form and the active skill Warrior of Reversal, which boosted his strength and endurance for a limited time when facing overwhelmingly stronger enemies. Se-jin read the skill windows while standing in front of the troll, realizing his Orc form had evolved, and that Warrior of Reversal could alter outcomes even in human form. He watched Yu Sejong confront the troll, knowing her bravado masked fear. As the drooling monster displayed signs of a mid-tier threat, she engaged first, her mana-infused sword clashing with the troll's fist, causing a violent shockwave. Barely avoiding a direct hit, she quickly became overwhelmed. The troll attacked again, smashing her armor and sword and sending her flying. She lay dazed as the troll raised its fist to strike again. Se-jin rushed in and blocked the blow with his bare body, holding back the troll without using mana. His stance remained firm despite torn clothes and sunken ground beneath him. He shouted at Sejong to run. She didn't respond until he insulted her, which finally snapped her out of her daze, and she dragged herself away. Once she was clear, Se-jin dodged, and the troll's fist crushed the earth behind him. The troll turned toward him, enraged. His skill ended, and though he couldn't feel his arms, he sensed no pain, likely due to nerve damage. At that moment, a loud voice shouted from afar. Park Hyun-oh appeared, leapt out of the tall grass, and sliced the troll in half with a powerful sword aura. He ran to Sejong and held her gently while she bled and looked past him. Her eyes followed the wounded, retreating man who had saved her, now barely standing, his body torn and discolored. She tried to speak or move but couldn't, as she lost consciousness. Se-jin transformed into his wolf form and ran until reaching his cave. He shifted back, drank his potion with his mouth, and collapsed as his body began recovering. Yu Sejong woke after 2 days and asked about the man who saved her. Park Hyun-oh handed her a damaged bronze hunter license with the name Kim Se-jin, marked heavenly gifted. Surprised, he admitted it matched her story. She denied any feelings beyond duty, quoting her grandfather's advice about repaying favors. Then she asked about her paralysis. Hyun-oh confirmed it was serious but treatable. A high-grade potion from Gangwon had been secured through a special deal, though the source was unknown. When she asked for the potion's name, he hesitated, then revealed it: a goblin's kindness. Yu Sejong frowned at the name a goblin's kindness. Then Park Hyun-oh agreed it sounded strange, and explained the high expectations behind it. He described the potion's registration in the naming series, and mentioned that the Dark Elf manager Hazeline had approved it. She later received a call asking when the potion would arrive, then ended the conversation with irritation. After yelling about delays, Hazeline grew angry at an employee who couldn't locate the alchemist, cursed aloud, then slammed her fist on the desk. The employee announced the alchemist's arrival, and Hazeline immediately stood up and rushed to meet him. In a dark room, Hazeline offered coffee and introduced herself openly to Se-jin, revealing her name and race. Se-jin responded calmly while internally flustered by her beauty. Hazeline praised the potion and assumed it had taken years to make, while Se-jin, hiding the truth, claimed it was his greatest achievement. She handed over request letters from major buyers offering high sums. Hazeline explained that the law allowed direct deals for less than half the stock and clarified that the alchemy house would take a commission. Se-jin agreed to the 35% cut, then stamped the highest offer. Hazeline asked if he had the potions with him, and Se-jin pulled out 4 bottles. She inspected one, verified its quality, and smiled with satisfaction. Then she asked about his alchemy training, and Se-jin gave a story about a deceased master who taught him to pursue perfection. Hazeline believed him and complimented the master's teachings. Se-jin stood up to leave, and Hazeline promised to promote the Goblin series through media and marketing, then shook his hand. Se-jin left the alchemy house, and Hazeline immediately grabbed her phone. She called Sir Knight, who had been upset earlier but now apologized for his reaction. Hazeline responded casually, mentioning that a product had arrived but still needed testing from the Central Association before it could be officially approved. Sir Knight was eager to come over, but Hazeline warned him to be careful. She then called reporter Yoon Hui-jong, mentioning a new high-grade potion called a Goblin's Kindness. Hazeline planned to send over the details soon and expected the sales permit within a few days. The potion, created by a genius alchemist, was being hailed as a healing elixir and was to go on auction. The Raven Knight's order, struggling without high-grade potions, was particularly interested in securing it. Kim Yoo-rin, now the youngest highest-tier knight, thought back to her strained relationship with Hazeline. Years ago, Hazeline had poisoned her potion, leading to a violent encounter. Despite the tension, both women had become powerful. Yoo-rin had risen to the highest rank, while Hazeline led the alchemy house. Yoo-rin received a congratulatory gift from her knights, a custom pair of Zenobus gauntlets. She thanked them but found it typical that she only ever received battle equipment as gifts. At the monster store, Se-jin was distracted by news on the TV about the success of a Goblin's Kindness. The potion had gained international attention, and the alchemist was being called the Goblin Alchemist. Se-jin couldn't focus on his procedure, his attention fixed on the growing buzz surrounding the potion. Hazeline sighed when her employee called the alchemist a genius, then warned him to stop reading gossip forums. After scolding him, she secretly called the alchemist herself to ask him to dinner, but only reached his voicemail. Se-jin calculated his potion sales and realized he had earned over $1.3 million, then decided to buy a fortified house near the monster field despite the high cost. Watch the full video and the next parts in our new channel, A Fiction Studio. Link is in the description.